everyone. This is Lucas Ross Sports, Lucas Ross, your commentator, and it's time for another conference standings / conference championship predictions, and we continue them with the Pac-12 conference. I'll give you the standings based on those predictions that I did for the Pac-12 when we did those college football predictions, and I will give you a conference championship prediction as well with the final two teams on these standings. And let's get right into it here. And there's a lot of things different with the Pac-12 this season. They are not doing any more divisions. It is now the final two teams in the standings. So let's get started here we start from the bottom and work our way to the top. We'll start with number 12, and that is California, also known as Cal. I have them going 2-10 in the conference, 0-9 in the conference as well. I think this team does not win a game this year. I think they lost a lot of production as well this season. I just think the young talent they have this season is going to just really struggle. They'll take a step back this year after not a good season last year, but I think this team, is still good. But, overall their production they have coming back this year is really young. It's kind of, similar to some other teams here in the Pac-12. But let's be honest, I think the Pac-12 is pretty wide open this season. Anybody can win the Pac-12 this year, but California, my thoughts on them is that I don't think they will win any games. So I got them here at number 12, going 2-10 overall and 0-9 in the conference. Colorado, the same team at number 11, 2-10 overall and 1-8 in the conference. I had them at least getting one win, and that comes to Cal. And with that was at home there for Colorado. I think that's why it was a tough one to call. Colorado's going to be really young on offense this year. Defensively, they're going to be really good, but, just offensively overall, this team is going to be really young. I think Colorado, I think the defense will be a little bit young. I think I mispronounced that. I think the offense will be good enough, but it just comes down to that defense, I think, for Colorado. This team is, this team had a rough year last year. They had a rough year. I think they're going to take another step back this season as well. I think this team, has a long way to go before they compete in the Pac-12 conference. And I think their coach is pretty much on the hot seat as well. So, it's pretty close, but, I got Colorado with the production they have. It's just not going to be enough to really have a good season. So it just comes down to that defense this year for this team, and I got them finishing 11th here in the Pac-12. Washington State here at number 10. I'm not really high on this Washington State team. I know people are going to disagree with me on that, Washington State, prediction. But let's be honest, the offense is going to be really young, but the defense is going to be talented. But Washington State, I think, will finish 3-9, 1-8 in conference. They have to play Wisconsin out of the non-conference as well, and that's going to be pretty tough. They have to go on the road and face them, and that's going to be a tough challenge for them. I think offensively, they're going to be really young. It just comes down to that offense, and that's what really concerns me about this Washington State team. I'm not saying they're going to be terrible. I think they're going to be kind of similar to all those teams that had some really close games like Nebraska. I think they're going to have some close games. I'm not saying they're going to be terrible or anything like that. They will have close games. They're kind of similar to some of those other teams. But Washington State, I think, will finish 3-9 this season. But they at least get one win in the conference, and I got them at number 10 overall. Arizona comes in here at number 9. Arizona just missing out on a bowl game here in my prediction. I have them going 5-7 and 3-6 overall. This team returns good production this season, but overall, the talent is not there for them yet. It's just going to take time for Arizona to really get back to winning ways. But Arizona, I got them here at number 9. I think this team, can win at least 5 games this year. They can end up going 6-6 perhaps, but, they could still lose more games than that. But I think 5-7 is clearly the prediction for Arizona, and 3-6 in the conference. Oregon State comes in here at number 8. I'm really high on this team as well. 7-5 overall, 4-5 in the conference. A lot of production coming back on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. I think the defense will be pretty strong for this Oregon State team. I think they have what it takes to really compete in the Pac-12 this year, but not really quite enough to get up to that top level as, Oregon or any other Pac-12 teams as well. I think they still have a long way to go, but I think Oregon State will be pretty good this season. They have to play Arizona State they have to play, some pretty tough games as well on the schedule, but I think Oregon State should be quite good enough to where they can be a high-powered team. UCLA comes in here at number 7, 8-4 overall, 5-4 in conference. I'm pretty high on this UCLA team. They have the easiest schedule in all of college football, and I think that's why these games really pretty much favor UCLA a lot. They have an easy non-conference schedule as well. And if you look at the schedule for UCLA, it is easy. You know, it's one of the easiest schedules in all of college football. And I think that's what UCLA, it takes them to have a good season this season as well. So I got UCLA finishing 8-4, 5-4 in conference play, and number 7 overall in the Pac-12. We go now from 6-1, and we go with Arizona State here at number 6, 8-4 overall, 5-4 in conference play. It was a tie between UCLA and Arizona State. Arizona State, I have them ahead of UCLA because of the regular season matchup. I think people are kind of sleeping on this Arizona State team. Yes, I think their coach is not all that good. I think this team is still capable of going 8-4 this season. I know they lost a few production this season, but I think I think with the season they had last year, it's going to really build on them. But I think they still won't make it to the Pac-12 championship. No doubt about it. I don't think they will make it to the Pac-12 championship. But I think this team is still capable of finishing in the top 6 in the Pac-12 conference this season, and I got them going 8-4 overall, 5-4 in conference play. They have to play Oklahoma State out of the non-conference as well, and that's going to be pretty tough there on the road. Number 5 is USC at 9-3 overall, 6-3 in conference play. They are ranked in the top 25 this season. USC, Washington, and Oregon, these are all 3 teams that I think are capable of, winning the Pac-12 this season. The USC is a team that is just going to bring a lot of transfers this season as well. Lincoln Riley coming over, Caleb Williams at quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback as well, maybe a Heisman contender. This is going to be a really good offense this season, but let's face it, first year with Lincoln Riley, I think they do win some games, but it's probably not going to be enough to get to the Pac-12 championship. They still have a long way to go before they really get into that caliber or something like that. But I think USC finishes 5th and 9-3 and 6-3 in the conference. So number 4 is Washington here at number 4. I'm really high on this Washington team. I know they weren't great last year, but the production they have coming back is pretty good on offense. Defensively, they should be quite good as well. I have them going 9-3 as well, 6-3 in conference. They have to play Michigan State out of the non-conference. I got them winning that game. And I think with Washington, last year they took a step back, but, I think this season is going to be all about the offense. I think the offense will be pretty good. I don't think they're going to be all that explosive, but they do have a pretty tough schedule. I mean, they have to play, all these other Pac-12 teams. I mean, some Pac-12 teams, but, also I think this Pac-12 conference is going to be wide open this season. You look at all these 3 teams, Oregon, Washington, and USC. Any of these teams can win it, like in the top 5. Any of these teams can win it. I think Washington, though, I got them finishing at number 4 and 9-3 and 6-3 in the conference. Oregon is up next here at number 3. I think the Ducks are going to be pretty good. They're going to be a really well-coached team this season. Bo Nix coming over here from Auburn. I think he's going to have some ups and downs, but we've seen his ups and downs at Auburn a few times. But I think he's going to be a really good quarterback for this Oregon team. And with Oregon, they have to play Georgia out of the non-conference to begin the season. That's going to be tough there, but I think this Oregon team is capable of competing in that game. 9-3, though, overall for Oregon, and 7-2 in conference play. So I think this team will have a really good start to their first-year head coach. Number 2 is Stanford. Stanford is a team that I'm pretty high on this season. They have a lot of production coming back on both sides of the ball, especially on offense. I mean, this team is loaded. They're loaded on both sides of the ball. And if they don't have a great season, that is just going to be a terrible thing to witness. Stanford, if they do have a terrible season, that will be a terrible thing to see. I think Stanford is going 10-2 this year, 8-1 overall, and I think they can make it to the Pac-12 championship this season. And they will face the team that is number 1 on here on the standings. I got Utah winning the Pac-12 once again this season. I have them going 11-1 overall, 8-1 in conference play. And yes, Utah is coming off 1 loss there. I think it comes on the road at Oregon. I think they do beat Stanford, though, in the regular season matchup. That's why I got them ahead of Stanford. So I think Utah at least loses 1 game in the regular season. and that one comes on the road at Oregon. So I got Utah winning the Pac-12, though, this season, and I also think they can perhaps make the college football playoff. So we gave you the standings now, and here is the Pac-12 championship game at Las Vegas, Nevada, at Giant Stadium here. Utah versus Stanford. Going to be a big matchup here, a regular season rematch. I think Utah is clearly, not the better team, but I think Stanford is clearly the veteran experienced team. I think Utah, though, is just a little bit motivated, though. And also, I think they have the better coaching staff. Stanford, I think, will get close in this game. I think it's going to be a back-and-forth game, maybe a defensive-type battle, maybe a short-scoring matchup. But I think this decides, who goes to a big New Year's Six bowl game. But this decides Utah's season as well if they want to make the college football playoff. But I like Utah in this game, and also I just love the, motivation on that side of the ball. And also, I like the motivation on this team. So I'm going to go with Utah to win the Pac-12 championship. I think they at least win it by maybe 10 points or somewhere in that range. But I think Utah wins the whole Pac-12 this season, and also the Pac-12 championship game. So I think Utah can perhaps make the college football playoff. But let's face it, the Pac-12 is wide open. It's going to be wide open this season. Any of the 5 teams that I just mentioned, I think Washington, USC, or Oregon can win the Pac-12 still, but Stanford and Utah are pretty loaded with their returning production as well. So, but I got Utah winning the Pac-12 championship. We will have the SEC conference tomorrow, and we will end things for the week. But we will have that top 25 video coming out this Sunday, so stay tuned for that video. And stay tuned here for more on Lucas Ross Sports.